Hello, hello. Emily here with Just Ask Em and the Jess Bryan.
Hi,
Introduce
everybody.
yourself.
How's it going? I'm Jessica Bryan, and I'm excited to be here with Emily today. I've seen her a lot in the community. She's everywhere. And so it's nice to finally connect with you.
Yes, thank you for taking the time. So, what is a little bit about your background?
I'm from 607, that is Binghamton, New York.
Okay.
And it's so funny because I'll meet somebody and like, oh my God, you have a 607 area code. And I really didn't know that many people lived in that area, maybe went to school, because it covers Binghamton, Cornell, Ithaca. So yeah, I grew up there. I was a big athlete, softball.
Okay.
And I came to Buff State. And I quit softball my first week of school.
Okay.
Because I had a torn rotator cuff.
Oh.
And I finally realized my second week of college, holy crap, I like learning. So I was such a jock growing up. So
I am not sport inclined whatsoever.
It was exciting.
So good for you.
It was exciting to come here.
Very nice.
So Buff State, whoop whoop.
Yeah. Now, what'd you take at Buff State?
I was a history major. I also minored in African American history. The culture at Buff State was insane.
Yeah, that's a great place to take that, actually. Okay, nice.
And then I did my master's there too. I got a multidisciplinary degree in finance and nonprofit management.
Okay, so I've never heard of that. What is that multidisciplinary? What is that?
So it's basically an MPA, public administration, but a focus on nonprofit finance, grant, data analytics. So it's actually a master's in science because of the amount of data and analytics and finance that I focused on.
Interesting. Okay, what made you kind of look into taking that?
Oh goodness. Well, I wanted to go to law school.
Okay.
But I
could have seen that.
because of my history background, everybody says history is government with a story, right? Mm-hmm. So I learned a lot about policy, both in European history, American history, and I really focus on New York State history a lot. So I learned to really take a look at government and policies, and a lot of things with me, I need to just make sense.
Right, I get that.
And in order for history or policies to make sense, I always needed numbers don't lie, right? I need the data. I'm always
visual.
And it really coincides with who I am and my personality, because I'm the same way with people.
Yeah.
I have this crazy gift of reading people on the spot, and I know when things don't add up. Mm-hmm. So I kind of merged all of that, my love for government and history and policy and data. And I created this little master's for myself, and I skipped law school. Got my master's, and I went right into working into government housing programs.
Which is nice, because I think a lot of the time, we know what we want to be when we grow up. We stick with it. Mm-hmm. But obviously you change and evolve in life. So it's kind of nice when the path changes, but it's you're still in it, but you're doing it your own way.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people sometimes aren't bold enough to do that, or they feel well, I don't want to change now because I put all this work in. Versus kind of getting creative of, it doesn't have to be a waste of time, but how can you, from this point, turn it into your own, rather than just pushing yourself into doing something you're not even going to enjoy.
I feel that's a story of mine and my husband's life.
Yeah.
Because everything we do is very different. Mm-hmm. We're disruptors. We have to come up with ways to do it our way.
You make your own path. That's absolutely.
And my husband is the doer, and I'm the thinker. And
which I love.
He loves to make fun of me because I love to work smart, not hard.
Right.
And sometimes you do just have to work hard. And thank God for people like him. Right. Because my resume never said works very hard. I take breaks. I care about
That's called self-care. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm very good at that.
Right, there you go.
Definitely add a skill on my resume. Right. Self-care. Splash, laying on the couch, binge watching TV for a day if I need to. Maybe a cry here and there.
I think we relate in the sense of like this whole morning I'm like, I know I gotta do what I gotta do, but I don't know why I like to put myself under pressure because that's where I work best.
Oh, 100%.
So I think that's our thought process when we're doing that.
Yep.
So you have a few things going on currently. You're very well known for Brat's Hill. That is a Jamaican restaurant, correct? Yep. Okay, and your husband, Chef Darian Bryan. So how did you end up in that industry? Was it by choice, or you kind of discovered your passion through experience?
Definitely through experience.
Okay.
Hospitality is not my game.
Okay.
But of course, the creativity and data side and, business.
Which is a requirement.
And also nonprofit management, working in nonprofits, like managing people comes in handy too, because on a daily basis, we have 45 employees between the Plating Society and Brat's Hill. So let me give you some structure here, right?
Yes.
So we own the Plating Society, a hospitality company, my husband, Chef Darian, and I. And under that company, we have a few different wings. Number one is Plating Society. And so there we have chef table, private tastings, dinner parties, pretty much anything you want. We like to call it
customized.
Boutique
I love
for chef services.
Yeah.
Under that umbrella, we also place in-home chefs at bills players' homes, people's homes who want, in-home chefs, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. We also do meal prep as well. So those are the few things we do under the Plating Society. And then under that hospitality group, we also have Brat's Hill by Chef Darian, which is his 2-in-1 concept restaurant. Fast casual lunch, so that's where you go get your oxtail dinner, your jerk chicken, your rasta pasta, curry goat, and you can enjoy in this beautiful little lunchtime environment.
Yeah.
And then at night we switch over to fine dining Jamaican,
Which I love. Okay.
so they take a lot of the same ingredients and they elevate them. He does his modern take, maybe like an Italian dish or an Asian dish. And it's really a bougie environment.
Yeah.
He used to work at Hutch's, and he always imagined having a Jamaican version of Hutch's.
And I love to see it because the first time I experienced him was when his food in his restaurant was Larkin Square, when he was literally still at a pop-up. So like to see everything he's built, not only where he started, but at the location that you're at. For me, I love customized. I love personalized. I love the balance of, like you said, that fast casual lunch and then the fine dining. Like you just can't go wrong with the balance because now you just maximize, the clientele that you're catering to.
Exactly, and I think it's cool that him and his family get to show both sides. They can do it. So I fell into that
That's
world.
the hard working part.
I know. I'm not the hard worker.
I think you are. You just work hard in a different way.
In a different way. I like 3 a.m. when I'm bored and I can't sleep.
Okay. Gosh, I love doing these episodes because the more I talk to people, I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy. Like, this is normal in some people's lives.
100%.
Because I'm like 3 to 4 a.m. Wyatt is just like, oh, and I'm just like.
Or like I'm in the shower and I'm like washing my hair. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Right? They say that's where you do your best thinking, right?
Like, oh my goodness. 35 minutes later, my husband's like, honey, are you okay in the shower? I'm like, yes. Please don't talk to me right now.
Brainstorming.
I guess I need a whiteboard in there.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Our next business venture could be a
waterproof
whiteboard for ADHD brainstorming sessions in the shower.
Pending, no?
Please don't take that idea.
Right. Now, what advantages would you say, you own your business, you also are a woman in this industry, but also a wife and a mother. What are some advantages, having that opportunity?
So this is probably the most important part to me. So this will also answer the previous question that I did not answer very well. So I fell into hospitality because I had a career in government housing for 8 years, and I worked Section 8 housing. I helped run the homeless housing for the county. And then I worked at HUD, Federal HUD Community Development, and I was a financial analyst. Okay. So I loved my career. I love housing. I really do. It means so much to me. I could work on that for hours a day and not lose any interest at all. And so I would go to work, I'd get my job done extremely fast in a few hours, what could take people months.
Right.
And I have severe ADHD. I was diagnosed, and between that and being a mother with 2 babies under the age of 2, the days I had to miss was stressful.
Yeah.
And it was not fair because I was getting all of this work done.
Yeah.
And all of these employees would take weeks and months to get something done. And I would miss one day here or a day I'd have to go pick up my kids. And I remember one of my bosses saying to me, like, "Oh, you have like a pretty dramatic life, huh?" And I'm like, "No, I'm a mother, and you would never understand."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was crazy. 2 kids under 2 in daycare, sick all the time, and I just didn't feel like I could go on like that.
Yeah.
And my creativity was like this.
It was being suppressed. Yeah.
Yes, because I had all these ideas in government, but government moves so slow.
Right. And as efficient as you were, which is great, it was probably almost the battle of you could only get ahead so much.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So when I realized all the work that Darian was doing, and I was also doing it for him, part-time. I'm not cooking. I can't cook. But I do all the business stuff. And I realized, like,
Balance.
okay, this is freedom.
Yeah.
And so I think I chased that freedom in his field for a while because I knew I could help him build up what he was working on from the business side and the organization side, the data side. And so I did that, and I really loved it. It was great. It was freedom. It was the first time I could like wake up when I wanted to, or
different.
go travel whenever we wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing that we do. We love to travel, or if my babies are sick, I don't feel bad about staying home and being with them all day. But I did miss housing. I realize now in the past year, like I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
And I really just, So I just started my consulting firm back up.
Okay, and what does the consulting firm consist of?
So I want to look at how systems work across housing because I did work in Section 8. I worked in homeless housing. I worked in community development from affordable all the way to market rate projects. And I think that those sectors do not talk.
Yeah.
They're siloed. And I want to create bridges. I want to create systems that work together to improve our housing. I want to work smart, not hard.
Right.
I want our people in housing to have easier roles and solve problems and looking at the whole system together.
Okay. Very nice. So with all that, and I remember, so I think it was at a few months ago, one of the Wonder Brink meetings. Well, whatever they were previously, and it was really nice to see you and your husband's like story kind of just explained, because I think a lot of the time people look from the outside in and like, oh, that's great, like that's so like amazing. So how did you meet your husband? I'm hearing the story again, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah, so, I have an advantage because he's not here.
Right? Uh-oh.
So, no,
she got the leg crossed. She's ready.
I was at a brunch at ECC downtown at the Statler building. It's not the Statler building, the ECC downtown campus, which is one of the first large post office buildings in America. History major. So I love this building. It's so beautiful, and they have a room in there called the Statler where the culinary team will train while they're in school. And so Darian was in school there, and I was having lunch with Buff State there, and he brings out like this tray of desserts, and I said to my friend, I was like, I hope they taste as good as they look. And he's like, they do. I made them. I was like, oh crap, he heard me, but also the accent, right? So
it's always the accent.
I started just like chatting with him. I grew up with Caribbean folks in Binghamton, and I knew, I could understand patois. Like I love dancehall music, so
nice.
I always just like naturally hang out with Caribbean people. I love the Caribbean, and he chatted back with me, and he called me that night while he was riding his bike home from Denny's. And I was like, absolutely not. Ooh. Like, he's riding his bike home. He works at Denny's. Like, what am I doing? I'm a senior. I'm about to graduate. And my friend, she's like, you need to call him back. You're going on that date. Ooh. Like, you are going.
It's a good friend.
We went on the date that night, and that was it. The rest was history.
And let's see, everybody has humble beginnings. There's always a start to any story, even if it's not as high as people 100%,
because we were it was rough. Like he had just gotten a job at Hutch's shortly after.
Okay.
But you have to work your way up at Hutch's, which he did. He was sous chef when he left,
Very
which is
nice.
unbelievable for that short amount of time.
Right.
But I was in grad school and he was working as a cook at Hutch's, and it was just crazy, trying to build a dream when we didn't have money handed to us.
Right.
I didn't get, a trust fund.
Yeah, all the
I
grants
had student
and
loans,
right.
and he came from no electric or running water,
Yeah.
so we both knew we had to build.
Yeah, and I think that's such a nice dynamic and balance to have between two people, where it's just like you complement each other so well, in the sense of he understands like just working hard, and it seems kind of just like going for it, whereas you with your background, but also I feel like it is a woman's strength, if you will, where we have the organized process, where you don't mind working hard, but we want to strategically plan it, so I think that dynamic together is great, just to have the mindset of, if you got through what you got through, and like you said, pretty much built it up from nothing, that's the most important like ingredient and motivation to keep going, because it's and even to this day, just because you've made it doesn't mean every day is like, okay, no more hard days, no more
absolutely
no more difficulties or no more challenges. So like that's such a great example, where it's just like, if you're going to be in business, with your partner or significant other, having that understanding and making sure, hey, it's going to be like this, and are you going to be able to work with each other through it all? So we talked about the advantages. What are the disadvantages?
I
with
think
the whole
that
dynamic?
it's not for the weak.
That part.
If you are not capable of separating business from personal, do not go into business with your spouse.
Yep.
Or
Absolutely.
a friend.
Yes.
Or anybody in your family that
And
you have a
personal, right?
relationship with, because that is one thing that I've always been able to do.
Yep.
Have a business discussion, completely remove feelings.
Right.
Focus on the facts. I told you, I'm a numbers person. Things need to add up. And, I can get emotional if I feel personally about something, but I realize at the end of the day, business and personal just doesn't. And that goes for my employees. That goes for everything. I mean, we can have a very serious discussion. You can give me negative feedback. I can give you negative feedback. We could have a disagreement. But at the end of the day, what does that have to do with us walking out of here and moving on?
Cordially, right.
And so that's like the main thing that I always tell people, like, and if you want to and you can't separate, you just need to get into therapy now. You can start learning.
My name is Emily. I work in a therapy office. Book your consultation.
Seriously, I mean, it's skill building. It's really working on yourself and the ability to figure things out with your partner. But it's tough. I mean,
yeah, and with a family, then that's the whole other branch to that dynamic.
Yeah, and we're all in. So entrepreneurs can be all the way up here one day, and they could have days where they dip like nuts. So you have to be able to ride that with your spouse.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and you have 9 to 5, so I can come home and at least you still have your income. We're in this together.
Right.
And so just coming up with plans for that, what happens in those down times, and
yeah. And I think it's just, and I was actually just talking with one of my employers, if you will, that I'm helping, do marketing with. And one of the things I said is just like, I'm not soft to the game. Like with all the industries and customer services I've worked in, what you learn to develop is an understanding. Because it's just like you almost have no choice but to have a certain level of patience and understanding, because there's going to be things that you just can't control.
Yeah, 100%.
And like I said, that business and personal is so important in the sense of, in the business world, especially the restaurant business, because business and then the restaurant business, that's like a whole nother monster. There's just, you have to control the emotions to a certain point, because if you lead with emotions, you're going to fall on your face, just flat out. I've slightly worked in, I've served, I've been a host, and I've seen some like bosses and seen the restaurants fail because it's just so much emotion, and it's just like, if you're the boss and you're having that much emotion, imagine what's going to happen to your staff.
Right.
You know, and I've done Uber Eats a couple times, and I've stopped into Brad's Hill to, you know, pick up the food. Great environment. You can tell the employees are happy. You know, the customer service is like great. And I always, when I worked in corporate America, you know, or those places that just, you know, suppress your creativity or, you know, knowing ways that things could get done better, that was always it. It was just like, I get this is just a 9 to 5 job for you, but if you're the office manager, you're coming in with a certain mindset and attitude and energy. What do you think that's going to do for the staff?
100%.
And then number two, if it's a place where you have to deal with customers, how do you think that service is now going to reflect on the customers? So it's like, it's really not that like difficult. And I always battled with, how could you have such a bad attitude with something that was kind of given to you? You know, as an owner, as an office manager, like that, it's given to you. It's your responsibility. You know, you kind of have that oath to how you execute it, what you teach your workers, and then it, you know, kind of goes down to your customers. And it's just like, why would you not want to, you know, the analytics, the data, the research, everything is research, you know.
100%. And there's a book that Darian and I swear by. It's Unreasonable Hospitality.
Okay.
It's not just, and it's by Will Guidara.
Okay.
It's not just for restaurants. Hospitality is in so many different areas.
So many.
Whether you're teaching or you're selling a car or you're a massage therapist, you work in housing. Hospitality is everywhere if you are providing
runs the world.
Exactly. If you're providing a service, if you are trying to provide a sale, you should read this book. And it's not, you know, it's a mindset. It's thinking about things differently, creatively, letting your team lead, right? Because first of all, with ADHD, I don't even have time to micromanage. So I need people in positions that I can trust.
Exactly, that peace
and
of
that
mind. Right.
I know can demonstrate, you know, the job without me having to check on you.
Yeah,
because
as if you were there, as
can't.
if you're not.
Exactly. So the people who we have in, you know, each of the roles are amazing at that. And that's what matters, you know, having a staff that, a team that you can look forward to seeing them run shifts and coming up with new ideas. And I love it.
Participate. I mean, and now is teamwork. It's really just teamwork. And I think that's like huge in the sense of, even though, yes, you are the owners, but what I love to see is when people don't come in knowing that they're the owners, like anybody's like beneath you, or like you said, just helping each one of your staff members feel seen. That's it. And just appreciate it. And like you said, giving them that confidence, you know, in itself of, hey, I'm giving you these responsibilities. I don't feel like I need to micromanage you. So that in itself, I feel like is going to create more of a obligation to the responsibility of fulfilling it, you know, because you're not there, or they want to make, you know what I mean, wanting to make sure it gets done right, because it's like, wow, nobody's breathing down my neck. I can work in peace. You know, do my own style as long as I get it done.
100%.
You know, and those things are just so underestimated, like in the workplace.
And because data is so important.
Right.
If more leadership would start doing that, they could, if they have a tendency to micromanage, there's ways to do it in other ways, right? So that's where data comes in. If I see numbers consistently slipping or bad reviews, or there's things out there that can show me if someone's not doing their job. Right?
Something's not working.
So I don't need to watch you to make sure that you are doing your job, right? I can see if, you know, things are not being upselled. I can see if, you know, we have some bad reviews, or if I see somebody and they tell me, oh, you know, your cashier was not, you know, there's other ways to take inventory, as I can say. So I think that being creative like that as a leader is good too. It's great for your staff, you know?
Well, and I mean, in addition, the benefit to that is that's a peace of mind in itself. Because once again, and I don't want to say a person with ADHD, but like people who kind of have those, you know, types of minds, it's easy for us to want to perfect everything, you know? So I think that's great that you've gotten to that point, because it's like the loop. It's like the loop in the sense of you look at the source of it. and the source takes care of if you were micromanaging. So it's like you're working backwards in the sense of you don't need to micromanage, you're focusing on the source and the feedback, and that in itself takes care of the work for you. So I guess in a way, sorry, chef, that's working smarter, not harder.
100%. 100%.
You know, but once again, and then there's sides of things where you do have to work, you know, a little harder. And I think the harder aspect is how he did it. You know, he started out before Larkin Square, because I mean, you went from Denny's to Hutch's to Larkin Square to now your own restaurant. I mean, that's like storybook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice to see that as an example or pattern and motivation for people in the sense of it takes time. You know, it does require that understanding of the data and research, and I'm sure you run into things that you figured out that don't work.
100%.
And then when you do that, you reevaluate and reassess and come up with different practices.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of things don't work. I mean, we figure it out all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. You never know until you try. So. But like I said, thank you so much for joining me. Do you have any, so the title of this was A Woman, Wife, and Mother in Business. Do you have, I feel like we did cover, you know, being a wife in this business, being a mother in this business. Do you have any advice for women entrepreneurs who might just be individual entrepreneurs or working with a partner?
Yeah, so I do. I think that you need to figure out what your personality type is and how you learn and how you work. And you need to put people in your life that are different than you. Whether that's your spouse or your coworkers, your teammates. You cannot have people who are like you on your team.
Yeah.
If I had a spouse that was like me, we would be nowhere right now because we'd have all these ideas and plans.
It'd be just colliding.
And there'd be no doing.
Right.
So, like I said, if you're an ideator, if you're a creator, if you're, you know, constantly coming up with plans and ideas, you need to have somebody that's going to put them in place. You need an executor. And I think that's extremely important.
It is.
And if you don't have somebody to challenge your ideas, then, you know, all your ideas are good ideas.
And then nobody can tell you anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
And you need to hear both sides, right? So that's the advice I have. And delegate, right? So if you know you're not good at something, do not try to do it.
Be okay with it.
There are people who can do things. Ask for help. Like being a mom and an entrepreneur and a wife, like I need so much help on a daily basis. And calling my mom or calling my sister or, you know, our babysitter, you know, hey, I just need like an hour to work on something. Can you come over, have dinner, and then like hang out with the kids for a while, right? But I usually like people to watch my children when they're with me so they can see mommy working and I'm not just like out away from them. But yeah, delegate, ask for help. You know, take a day to cry on the couch if you need to. And I do that all the time.
Yeah.
So
and I think it's definitely a matter of like normalizing those things where it's just like whether it's just like the world of social media or like the facades that people create. That's so important where like you said, you know, you're more attentive to self-care, if you will, you know, when you need it versus maybe pushing yourself to just kind of like get it done. And the whole asking for help thing, like, and I'm learning that like myself too, where I'm like, oh, it's kind of nice, you know, to reach out and ask for help for in this thing and this thing. And it could be non-business related, but like you said, it's just something you have to do without distractions or with, you know, some outside help. And like I said, people like you and I, we can be good at a lot of things, but we're not good at everything. And I think that's huge of being okay with that. And what you're not good at, like you said, not necessarily, you know, trying to be good at it, but if you find somebody who's good at it, how can you interlace that with your
100%.
creativity?
And you will go farther.
And you will. You absolutely will. And once I haven't said it in a while, but collaboration, not competition.
100%.
Simply put.
100%.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
this is Jess Bryan. Don't forget to visit their restaurant, Bratz Hill. What's the address again?
It's in Larkin Square, so it's 719 Seneca Street, Buffalo,
Beautiful.
New York.
All right. Make sure you check them out and tune in.